It's me again. I'm Ash. Welcome to the 3 Count, and this is your first ever episode of the Aerial Offensive. Now, this is going to be a brand new show based solely on 205 Live. Now, we all know that it's a dying brand. Not an awful lot happens on it. WWE just throw this brand underneath the bus, really. And it's really quite upsetting because the amount of talent that 205 Live has is unreal. Cedric Alexander, the Brian Kendrick, Rich Swann, the list goes on. We don't need to book these guys terribly. But I chose a perfect week to bring you the very first episode. This week, we were in Britain. So, as Britain is where I am airing this from Wales, probably where most of you are from as well, so you already know who I am, hopefully. But there's a sort of invasion angle. Well, not so much as an invasion, but as cross-branding, if you know what I mean. 205 Live was hosting the UK Division. Now, for one, I'm quite excited to see what the UK Division will be bringing to the WWE Network. I'm really waiting for Triple H or anybody within the WWE in general to let us know when the UK Division is actually going to air on the network. Now, I've been waiting for this since the UK Championship in January. That was an absolutely brilliant event. Day 1, it was pretty good, but day 2, there was some match of the year contenders at that event itself, just on the second day. It was brilliant. But I digress. That is another topic for another day. We could bring that up. Let me know if you want to talk more about British wrestling. I'll be more than happy to oblige. But 205 Live last night was hosting the UK Division. As we all know, on Monday Night Raw, General Manager Kurt Angle brought out none other than the Bruiserweight, the United Kingdom champion, Pete Dunne. Now, Kevin Dunne, the guy in the production truck, clearly, and this is a message to you, Joel, if you are watching, you can say shit. It is fine. Because what I'm about to say now, a bit worse. Not much, but it is. But Kevin Dunne, he done fucked up by turning around and actually playing Pete Dunne's music instead of Kurt Angle's when the intros are coming in. Kurt Angle's supposed to bring this massive surprise for when Pete Dunne was supposed to be coming down to the ring to fight Enzo Amore, and instead of playing Kurt Angle's music, he played Pete Dunne's. The lights and everything. So when Kurt Angle walked out, it was a bit weird, to be honest. Took away from the moment a little bit, but come on, it's Pete Dunne. Who doesn't want to watch Pete Dunne wrestle? He's amazing. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit of a buff up, but there, we're okay. Pete Dunne in the ring, 1, 2, 3. He got a nice, decisive victory over Enzo Amore. People will probably say Kalisto had something to do with it by alerting the referee that his feet were on the ropes, but that's another topic again. But this led directly into 205 Live. The story going that Enzo Amore personally offered the UK Division to come onto the show. Now, we know they were going to be there anyway, but in kayfabe terms, this is what happened. Now, at 205 Live, the show kicked off, as it normally does. The normal music. I gotta be honest, the 205 Live music is the best music theme for a show in all of the WWE today. It's better than Raw's, it's better than SmackDown's, and I'm only just warming up to NXT's new version, but 205 Live has hands down got the best intro. I too have notes, as I did for all of my shows. The show opened with Enzo Amore and what he was calling the Zoe Show, which is basically a new, I don't think we need more of these, but a new chat show, which he's going to be hosting on 205 Live. Now, he came in, he said he's going to offer the entire UK Division to come into the ring. He was going to interview them, the normal talk show stuff. He got in the ring, he was saying that he was a very happy man, saying that whoever told you money can't buy you happiness was lying. But then he turned and goes, actually, he's going to retract that statement and say that since he came to the UK, he's been a very unhappy man, calling Britain a dump. saying that all the men were ugly and the women were bland. So he ended up calling, seeing as they were in Manchester, it's not Manchester anymore, it's Blanchester. It was a bit silly. It got a bit of heat, the crowd booed, so it clearly worked. It hit the nerve that he was hoping for, so that's exactly the sort of heat that he was wanting. He then turned around and he was talking about Pete Dunne, saying that, who's Pete Dunne? He's never heard of him. Then he started asking what was his name, because he didn't even remember it. The crowd started chanting Bruiserweight. And then Enzo came up then with the glorious one, oh, Loserweight, I hear you. To which the crowd then obviously starts jeering. So a nice little dig there at, I say the hometown guy. He's British, so they're all technically hometown. It's the closest we can get, really. We only get the 1 or 2 shows a year, so we'll take it where we can. After that, he called down the UK Division. 6 members of the UK Division were called down, and if I just check my notes, these 6 members that were brought down to the ring were none other than Tucker, James Drake, Jordan Devlin, Mark Andrews, Tyler Bate, and Joseph Connors. Now, they all stood in a line, waiting. Basically, they turned for Enzo to come along and interview them. So, Enzo goes over, couldn't remember his name then. Enzo walks over to Devlin, asks about, oh, I hear you were trained by Finn Balor. What do you have to say about Finn Balor? Jordan Devlin has the microphone to his face, and he turns around and says he's exactly like Enzo Amore, saying that he's only in this business for the money and the fame. So he doesn't care anything about Finn Balor. Okay, he made that pretty clear during the UK Championship tournament as well. So I can see, I like the fact that they're continuing to streamline this storyline, even though we haven't seen Devlin since the UK tournament. I'm pretty sure he wasn't in the UK Championship special between then and now. Enzo was clearly very happy with this. He's not a big fan of Finn Balor, apparently. But I digress. He moved on anyway. Tucker was next, and he turned around and he said, oh, you've also had run-ins with Finn Balor. To which Tucker turned around and he looked Amore and he looked Devlin straight in the face and he said that neither of them were even half the man that Finn Balor was. To which Enzo just went, nah, yeah, whatever, okay, and just passed him by. He went then onto Drake, and he asked if he wanted to come into the Zo train. To which Drake just simply stood there and went, choo choo. Clearly wanted on board, so Enzo lost his shit again, did his little dance around the ring, and the next person he came along to end was my hometown boy, Cardiff's own Mark Andrews. Little big up there. Goes over to Mark Andrews, and he says that he's an amazing high flyer, possibly one of the best in the world, but he's even better than Kalisto, and he said that's not even lying. But he said, but there's a weight limit on 205 Live, and that Mark Andrews should probably start eating some salad, because there was no way that Mark Andrews was going to cut the weight limit for 205 Live, which obviously got some boos, a little bit of a stupefied look on Mark Andrews' face, but Mark Andrews didn't get a chance to talk. He then moved straight on then to Tyler Bate. Was it Tyler Bate? Yes, it was Tyler Bate. So Enzo asked Tyler Bate what his name was. Before Tyler had a chance to speak, the crowd started that amazing Tyler Bate song that they started singing. La 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 la. Tyler Bate, Tyler Bate, Tyler Bate. You know the one. I bloody love that chant. It's great. I love British crowds. They're the best crowds in the world. Fight me. But they start singing that, and Tyler's all like, oh, look, this is who I am. This is me. This is Tyler Bate, the first ever United Kingdom champion. So Enzo turned around and he asked Tyler, why should you be in the Zo train? And Tyler now starts, getting a little, oh, I don't know, and he starts rubbing his face and scratching his head a little. And the microphone comes to his face, and Tyler looks at him and says, as much as a pristine honour as it would be to join the Zo train, there is no way that he would be able to take Enzo's annoying, screechy voice screaming at him every single day. Now, Enzo didn't like this, and Enzo turned around to Bate and said, well, sometimes we all have to do something we don't like. And you know what? You'd be perfect on the Zoe train. I've got a spot for you. You can be my butler. You can cook my meals. You can wash my clothes. You might even get a chance to rub my boo. His boo is the championship, the Cruiserweight title. So then he gets right in Tyler's face and he goes, now go get your scrubbing mitts, boy. So then Tyler's not going to take that. Tyler looks, and he raises his right hand in the air. And for those of you that don't know, his right hand is Bob. He raised it up, and Enzo looks at it. He's like, oh, what's this? And then bang! Lovely left hook from Bang, literally, that's his left hand's name, straight in the face of Enzo Amore. Enzo Amore rolls straight out of the ring. And he's on the floor then, he's looking around. You know, the interviews didn't even get to Joseph Connors. Poor boy. You know, he's in the ring, obviously waiting for some screen time. He got some, didn't manage to make any of it, but he was there. But he rolls to the outside, Enzo does, and he's getting really upset, really angry with the fact that somebody would dare do this to him. You know, the Cruiserweight champion. But Tyler Bates just having none of it. The entire UK division is all like, oh, I can't believe what's just happened here. He's just smacked him square in the mouth. And he rolls out. Kalisto's music hits, and Kalisto comes down to the ring. He gets in the ring, and he does that little, you know, lucha, lucha, lucha thing he does. And then, you know, it went cut to like an advert style thing, you know, those things the network does where they introduce other products, like, I don't know, Total Bellas or some crap like that. Then we came back and we had our first match. Kalisto versus Gentleman Jack Gallagher. Now, Jack Gallagher's had a heel turn recently. He's been aligned with the Brian Kendrick, and he's still been entering with his, you know, his old music, you know, the really, the jolly one, you know, the nice one that he comes to, you know, the very overly British one, I'm going to say. But he normally comes out with that. But today, he had a heel music on. He had new theme tune. And I quite liked it. You know, he still had the same Gentleman Jack Gallagher background, you know, all up on the Titantron. He still had all of that. That was all still the same. But the new music just, it gave him a nice dark edge. It suited the character now. He still had his umbrella. He still had the suit and, you know, the twirly moustache. And it was just perfect. It was brilliant for Jack Gallagher, and I loved it. As he was walking onto the ring, Jack Gallagher had brought himself on a microphone, and he was saying that all British children are chavs, that the majority of British adults are doll bums doing nothing and just scrounging and scraping by off the job centre every day. And I found that absolutely hilarious due to how true that can actually be. People that are in America, if this gets that far at any point, you have no idea about how true that sentiment was. You might not know what a chav is. Look it up on Urban Dictionary, it's going to be there. But it was so spot on, and he said that it just upset him how being home reminded him of his former self, where he was dancing around like a monkey. He also then went ahead and said that he's bigger than Manchester, and he's bigger than Britain. He's quite a big star, like, more than Britain? I'm going to say not. Sorry, Jack. Right. Not a lot happened right at the beginning of the match. It was more like technical wrestling, you know, like arm drags, you know, using the leg locks. It was more technical. It was quite grounded. It was mainly Jack that was in control, but then Kalisto managed to get a nice reversal in. He threw Jack over the ropes, and then he hit... Oh, it was beautiful. I don't know what it's called, but it was quite good. If you're going to watch 205 Live, this little part here was brilliant. Where Kalisto held onto the rope, onto the top rope. He launched himself over the rope. Then he landed on the outside middle rope and did a front flip onto Jack Gallagher. That was great. That was athleticism at its finest. Just straight, literally from the inside, cleared the rope, landed on the outside of the middle, and then bounced into a front flip. I'd have fucked that up. No doubt. That was great. But while he was outside then, you know, it was obviously, you know, fighting as usual. You know, they scrapped a little bit. Not an awful lot happened after that. It was quite a quick match. They got back into the ring. Jack Gallagher got back in control, he managed to have a lot of control on Kalisto's arm, twisting it, bending it, arm bars, arm locks, arm whips, anything. He was just holding onto his arm an awful lot, making full use of the arm. And Kalisto then was really ring savvy, and as he's got his arm tied behind his back, he sort of leads Jack Gallagher towards the rope, runs up it, and straight into a Selena del Sol. It was brilliant. It was great. The match, it's just your normal run-of-the-mill 205 live match, I suppose. But that was quite intuitive. I like seeing superstars find new ways to hit the finishing move, but not overuse this. So hopefully Kalisto doesn't do this too often. But he managed to run up the ropes, straight into a Selena del Sol, getting straight out of the armbar in the process. And that was it. 1, 2, 3. Good result, right result. That pushes now towards for his Cruiserweight Championship match with Enzo Amore at Survivor Series. More notes. Backstage then, Enzo is interviewed by Tasha, the backstage interviewer from 205 Live. Really quick, literal one question, one sentence answer. She asked Enzo, did Tyler Bate make things personal in the ring on the Zoe show earlier? To which then Enzo is all really riled up and he goes, "You're damn straight, and I'm going to absolutely destroy him later on tonight." Walks off and the whole hand over the head thing as if it was just still a brand new attack, as if it just happened, and it clearly didn't. It's been a good 5 to 10 minutes now since, so that does kind of annoy me. Next, second out of only 3 matches on this event. Could have possibly pushed for one more, I think. If you'd have cut down the Zoe show at the beginning, I don't think that was fully necessary. Plus, they did chuck a load of unnecessary adverts in it. Maybe this is why 205 Live gets such a bad reputation. And it really shouldn't, because 205 Live is a brilliant show. But, yeah. I went into a tag team match then. We had James Drake and Joseph Connors taking on the team of Cedric Alexander and Mark Andrews. Now, the crowd really annoyed me for this one. There was nothing. It was silent. You had Mark Andrews and Cedric Alexander putting on one hell of a show, hitting high-flying move after high-flying move, considering that Drake and Connors are not high flyers. These are ground and pound guys. They hit you hard, and then they hit you harder. But then you got Alexander and Andrews, and these are doing all these flips, top rope, middle rope, bottom rope. They're doing all these flips, handstands, headstands. Not a single word from the crowd. Dead. And that was really upsetting. If you're at an event, make some noise. Show the performers in the ring that you care. Don't sit on your hands. You paid this money. Tell the performers how you feel. It's not hard. I really think that they should have done something here. There was just nothing there. Make something. If you feel that the event is that dead, make something. Jeer a superstar in a certain way. Cheer for them in a certain way. Start a chant. Get anything going within realms like, don't push the boundary too far to the point where, you're actually offending the superstars. They are putting their bodies on the line in it, and it's a hell of a hard job. But don't just sit there while these guys are performing their hearts out and you're giving them nothing. I think that was a bit low. But these guys were putting on a brilliant match. And I'm going to leave the crowd out of it now. But it was a good match. It was a pretty okay, normal show tag team match. It wasn't anything special, nothing you're going to remember about in about a couple of months' time. It's going to be gone. But Cedric Alexander and Mark Andrews really teamed well as a team. They had a few good double team moves. They were holding on to the match at the beginning. Then it sort of slowly faded over to Drake and Connor's side. And these were manhandling Mark Andrews. They were keeping him in their half of the ring, frequent tags in and out, making sure that they were getting the best of the situation, making sure that they could get the tags when they needed them, and making sure that Mark Andrews could not get even 50% of the way across the ring. It was all very cordoned off. Kind of like Revival sectioning them off. That sort of thing. Nowhere near as good as Revival. Nowhere near as good as Revival. But there was a bit of confusion there then. Connors was the illegal man. Drake was the legal man, but both men were standing on the apron. Connors went for a tag and tapped on Drake, tried to get in the ring, and the referee said, no, that's an illegal tag, you can't come in, get out. Fair, that is the rules. In that confusion then, where the team had to switch, Andrews made a quick dash over to the end of the ring and tagged in Cedric Alexander, and he unloaded on the other two competitors in the ring, taking them both out, making sure he's got some powerful hits in, straight in the turnbuckle, into another turnbuckle, suplex here, drop kick there, high flying move here. Oh, I love Cedric Alexander, and that's why I chose him for my 2K18 Raw draft. He's amazing. And he's going for it. It's left, it's right, this left, it's right, this up, it's down, this up, it's down. He was going everywhere. And then obviously then the numbers game caught up on him. Mark Andrews still on the outside, prone because he's a bit tired. He's, being beaten up. But they're fighting, and Alexander finds just a little small opening, and he manages to fight his way out. And he manages to hit a double lariat on both guys, and then he rolls over and tags in Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews then climbs to the top rope. Alexander repositions Connors into a nice position. Then Mark Andrews hits his signature shooting star press, but he lands it a bit low. He doesn't land Connors on the chest, he lands him on the legs. Now, fair play to Connors, he did try to get up and wiggle his way down. It was very obvious that he was doing it. But he tried that. I'm going to say it was Cedric Alexander's fault this time, because Cedric did pull Connors across, whilst Andrews was already mid-air in his rotation. So I'm going to say it was Alexander's fault for moving Connors when he really shouldn't have. He should have just left him there for Andrews to hit. Either way, Andrews lands onto Connors' legs more than anything, but that was still enough to pick up the 1, 2, 3. Your winners, Alexander and Andrews. Now, I think that was the right result, because we didn't really see much else of Connors and Drake from the UK Championship. Drake was eliminated by Connors, then Connors was eliminated by Andrews. Now, Mark has been given quite a good push within the WWE. He got all the way through to the semi-finals in the UK Championship tournament. He then had a UK Championship match in the UK Championship Special against Tyler Bate. He's also lost a match against Pete Dunne on NXT. So you can see that they've got some sort of plans for him. It's not all wins, but this was a match they kind of needed him to win if they want to keep him as a viable person then for the future for the UK division. Now, personally, I think that Mark Andrews would fit in really well on 205 Live. He's a high flyer. 205 Live could use that bolstering, but at the same time, if you want to make a UK division, you do need some more top names. Mark Andrews, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Trent Seven, Wolfgang. That's a pretty good start. And then you got everybody else then to fill around it. Joseph Connors, Drake. It carries on like that. But that was the correct result. Then we got on to our main event. Because of the events earlier on the night, you get Tyler Bate versus Enzo Amore. Now, Tyler came in, he did his whole, normal shtick, come in, little wave. He got in, waited, Enzo's music hit, then Enzo came out with his microphone, did the whole thing, with his microphone, and then as he turned on then to start speaking, he dropped it. Didn't do his whole "my name is Enzo Amore" shtick. He just drops the microphone and just walks towards the ring. You hear over commentary then that maybe this is a bit more of a serious looking Enzo Amore, thinking that maybe Tyler Bate is a more serious contender, and this is why Enzo needs to put a serious face on. He was all dressed in black. It looked really good. It looked more championship material than he has previously. Where he's got... Alright, he had the shit emoji on his backside. Again, I really wish he'd get rid of that, because I can't take him seriously as a champion with an emoji. A shit emoji nonetheless. Just on his outfit. Just put Amore or, the whole "I got the sauce" thing. That was fine. Because that was more original. It was... I've heard it loads of times. But it was more original than just putting, a cheap little emoji onto your outfit. You just take that off and just use the sauce can or something. I don't know. And again, the crowd, for some reason, I know I've already said that the British crowds are some of my favourite crowds ever, but they really were bad tonight. Last night. Both guys are fighting. the normal, your normal match. It's just a normal 205 Live style match. It was all started off really strong, really technical. There was reversals. Nobody was really staying on top. Tyler Bate would get on top of the match, then Enzo Amore would get on top, and it was sort of back and forth. It was all technical sort of stuff. There was no high flying. There was no really big hits. It was technical grapples, tests of strength, arm bars, leg locks. It was all wrestling, if you get my drift. Enzo then decided to sucker Bate outside because Bate started to get the match swinging in his favour. Now, he was getting, quite a big bit of momentum. He was more prepared. He was pushing himself better than Tyler Bate was. Than Enzo Amore was. Enzo rolls out to the ring. He suckers Tyler Bate to come out then, and then he just picks Tyler up and he dropped him straight on top of the barricade. Drops him down, and then he hit him with the barricade again. He picked him up, he threw him into the side of it. He didn't drop him on it this time, he just threw him into it. Then he picked him up, straight into the ring, and he managed to beat on him for a good while then, whilst in the ring. It was all mainly Enzo Amore. Enzo put Tyler Bate onto the top ropes, and he goes for a superplex. And now, this is where the crowd really annoyed me, because they'd been silent all match, and now they just started chanting, boring. I don't see why. I've seen a lot worse matches get higher pops than the former United Kingdom champion and the current Cruiserweight champion. There's no call for boring. These guys were fighting outside of the ring. They were showing proper technical finesse within the ring, which is strange for Enzo Amore. And you can see these guys now going to the top ropes to do a high-risk move. And the crowd, whilst they are perched up there, chant boring. Why is this? These guys are clearly about to do something really big, really risky, and you guys are just, putting them down. I know you need to let them know how you feel, but surely this match, it was a good match. It was good. It was good. It wasn't boring. It definitely wasn't boring. But the crowd aside, again, on the top, Enzo going for a superplex, and Bate then starts reversing, and he's pounding into Enzo Amore's fist. Right hooks, left hooks, right hooks, left hooks. Enzo eventually falls down. Enzo then, as Bate stands to his feet on the top rope, Enzo comes along and clotheslines Tyler Bate off the top. Now this was sickening, because as he hit him, Bate's right leg got caught on the top rope, and it bent. If you haven't got the network, get the network, but you'll probably find it on YouTube if not. But just look at the way Tyler Bate's leg bends as he's knocked off the top rope. The referee had to get out. He had to pull Enzo back because he fell from the top rope, caught his leg under the ropes, flipped it over, his leg whipped backwards, and he landed outside the ring. And it did look pretty bad. That was basically the icing on the cake there for Enzo. But he gets him then. He picks Tyler Bate back up, gets him into the ring, and then it's basically... Yeah, you could say it's basically over. You can see that Bate was not in the match at this point. You can see that I think he's legitimately hurt. He has done something to that leg by the looks of it. If not, he is a damn good seller, and I know that he is from watching the UK Championship, because he sold that bad arm from Pete Dunne like a soul. It was amazing. He sold it until the TV cameras went off. But this looked legitimate. This looked actually serious. Not as a serious injury, like a minor one, but it was still legit. But he got into the ring. He got thrown into the ring by Enzo. Enzo then hits the Judd Enzo. And that was it. 1, 2, 3. Enzo Amore with a win over Tyler Bate. Now that shocked me whilst watching this match. But it was the right call. It was definitely the right call. You've got nothing to go to push. You've got nothing to gain from Tyler Bate having a victory over Enzo Amore. Enzo Amore needs the victory to look a little bit stronger going into Survivor Series, to show himself as a more potential threat. This actually was a clean victory. There was no shenanigans. He didn't cheat. He didn't use the ropes. He didn't have somebody come in from the outside like Arya Daivari, who's been he's been helping recently. But there was none of that. It was a clean win. He picks up his championship, rubs it in Bate's face for some reason. Bate doesn't even challenge on this brand, so I don't know why you'd see the reason to, you know, rub it in someone's face. But he rubbed it in his face, and then he drops the championship, and he just decides to pound onto Bate. Again, I don't know why. But he did it anyway, obviously to send a message, I'm guessing, then to Kalisto, who then came out, saved Bate. And Morey rolls out of the ring, retreats up the ramp. Then there he stands, holds the championship up high, and fade to black. And that was 205 Live. I was hoping it would be a much better show than it was, considering that the UK guys were there. I'm really upset that Trent Seven and Wolfgang weren't on the show. I can understand Pete Dunne not being there due to being on Raw the night before. It would have been nice to see him in passing, maybe, but I can understand why he wasn't there. But it would have been nice to see, like, Trent Seven. You know, it would have been better for Trent Seven to come out to Bate save at least, you know. There can be a start of a storyline thread there then, in case you do bring these guys over to 205 Live again, or to just a normal WWE event in general. But no, Kalisto, again, CY storyline, it does fit, it works nicely, it fits quite together quite well. But yeah, it wasn't a special 205 Live. It was better than last week's Halloween special. Much better. It's an embarrassing time when you've got to put a guy dressed up as a clown entering to clown music. See Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander, for example. But this week, at least, there was proper wrestling. I'm not saying there's not proper wrestling on 205 Live anyway. There's lots of really good talent, really good wrestling on that show, which is why I haven't yet missed an episode. Last night was episode 50 of 205 Live. So this show's been going now for damn near a year. And I'm going to continue watching until it shuts down, because I'm invested in the brand. I like the Cruiserweight Classic. I like 205 Live. I like the stars that are there, and I believe that they will eventually get somewhat of a push that I hope they deserve. That I hope they get a push that I know they deserve. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, that was 205 Live. You will see me again, same time, next week, every Wednesday, 9 o'clock. I'm going to be here. I am Ash. I am part of The 3 Count. This has been